The flowers are suffocating me. I stand in the center of Mother's garden, my prison, and inhale the cloying sweetness of jasmine and honeysuckle, roses and lilies, all blooming in impossible perfection. Every petal is flawless, every stem straight as a blade. The air hangs thick with their scent, coating my throat like honey left too long in the sun, and I want to scream, but I don't. Good daughters don't scream. Instead, I dig my bare toes into the grass. The only small rebellion, I allow myself and feel the earth pulse beneath my feet. It whispers to me, in a language Mother pretends I can't hear, telling me of roots that stretch deep, deep down into places where sunlight has never touched. Places where things grow wild and twisted and free. Persephone, Mother's voice drifts across the garden like silk over skin, deceptively soft. I don't turn around. If I do, she'll see it in my eyes, the hunger, the desperate clawing need to be anywhere but here. Yes, Mother. My voice is measured, obedient. You're wandering too close to the edge again. The edge, as if the boundary of this garden is the edge of the world itself, and beyond it lies only chaos and ruin. I stare at the line where the eternal spring meets the darkening forest, where the flowers thin and the shadows grow teeth. I was only looking, I say. Looking leads to wanting. Wanting leads to foolishness. Her hand settles on my shoulder, gentle as a shackle. You have everything you need here, my darling. Safety, beauty, light. Cage bars taste the same, no matter how sweetly they're gilded. I nod, because it's easier than fighting. Mother kisses the top of my head and glides away, leaving me alone with the suffocating flowers and the screaming silence of my own thoughts. The moment she's gone, I'm moving. My feet carry me toward the edge, that forbidden line, and this time, I don't stop. The grass grows cooler beneath my soles, less manicured. Wild clover springs up between the blades. The air shifts, thinning, losing that oppressive sweetness. I can breathe here, just a little further, just to see. The forest looms before me, ancient and dark, and something in my chest pulls taut as a bowstring. Mother has warned me about this place my entire life. Monsters lurk in those shadows, darkness that consumes, death itself. But as I step across the threshold, one foot sinking into the soft loam of the forest floor, I feel more alive than I have in centuries. The temperature drops, not gradually, but all at once, as if I've walked through a curtain of ice. My breath mists in the air, and the eternal sunshine of Mother's garden seems suddenly very far away. The trees here are massive, their trunks thick as houses, their branches woven so tightly overhead that only fragments of light pierce through. And then silence. Not the peaceful quiet of a sleeping forest, but the held-breath silence of something waiting. The hair on the back of my neck rises. Every instinct Mother has carefully cultivated in me screams to run, to flee back to the safety of light and flowers and suffocating perfection. Instead, I take another step forward. Foolish little goddess. The voice comes from everywhere and nowhere, wrapping around me like smoke. Deep, rough. The kind of voice that sounds like it's been scraped across stone and shadow. I spin, but there's nothing behind me, except darkness that seems to pulse and breathe. Who's there? I demand, and I'm proud that my voice doesn't shake. Much. You know who I am. The shadows in front of me begin to coalesce, drawing together like ink, dropped in water. Your mother has made certain of that. She's told you all the stories, hasn't she? the terrible king beneath the earth, the stealer of souls, death incarnate. The darkness takes shape a figure taller than any man, wrapped in shadows that cling to him like a second skin. I can't make out his features clearly, but I feel the weight of his gaze, like a physical touch, sliding over my skin and leaving frost in its wake. This. I breathe. Hello, Persephone. He moves closer, and the shadows part just enough for me to see him properly. And oh, gods, he's beautiful in the way a blade is beautiful, all sharp edges and lethal grace. His face is carved from marble and midnight, high cheekbones and a jaw that could cut glass. His eyes are the most startling thing about him. Not black as I expected, but a deep, luminous silver, like moonlight on water. They pin me in place with an intensity that makes my pulse stutter. This is not the monster from Mother's stories. Or perhaps he is, and that's what terrifies me most. You shouldn't be here, he says, but there's no urgency in his voice. If anything, he sounds curious, as if he's found something unexpected and isn't quite sure what to do with it. I know. The words slip out before I can stop them. That's why I came. Something flickers across his face. Surprise, perhaps, or interest. He takes another step forward, close enough now that I can smell him. Ozone and smoke, cold stone, and something darker, earthier. The scent of things buried deep. Do you have any idea what I could do to you, little goddess? His voice drops lower, intimate and dangerous. What I should do, finding you trespassing in my domain. My heart hammers against my ribs, but beneath the fear is something else. Something that tastes like freedom and feels like falling. I imagine, I say slowly, meeting those silver eyes, that you could do anything you wanted. His lips curve into something that might be a smile, if it weren't so predatory. And yet you're not running. Would it matter if I did? No. The single word hangs between us, heavy with promise and threat. But it would be entertaining to watch. He moves like liquid shadow, circling me slowly, and I force myself to stand still, even as every nerve ending screams awareness. I feel his gaze like a touch, cataloguing every detail, my simple white dress, my bare feet, the flowers still tangled in my hair from Mother's morning ritual. She keeps you very carefully, doesn't she? He murmurs, close enough now that his breath ghosts across my ear. Your mother, like a flower under glass, protected, preserved, perfect. The word drips with disdain, and something in my chest cracks open. Yes, I whisper. He stops in front of me, close enough to touch, and tilts his head. And you hate it. It's not a question. Somehow, this stranger, this dark god of death and shadows, sees what no one else has ever bothered to look for. Yes, I say again, and the admission feels like bleeding. His hand rises, slowly, giving me time to pull away. I don't. His fingers brush my cheek, and his touch is ice and fire all at once, sending electricity racing down my spine. When he speaks, his voice is rough silk. Then perhaps, Hades says, his silver eyes burning into mine, you'd like to make a bargain. The word hangs between us, like a blade balanced on its edge. A bargain, I repeat, my voice steadier than I feel. What kind of bargain? Hades' smile is slow, dangerous, the kind that makes me think of wolves and winter nights, the kind that sets you free. My breath catches. Nothing is free, especially not freedom. Clever girl, His thumb traces along my jawline, and I hate how my body leans into the touch, craving more of that electric chill. 6 months in my realm, 6 months in hers. You'll belong to neither of us completely, and yet you'll taste both worlds. Light and dark, life and death. And what do you get out of this arrangement? Because there's always a price. Gods don't deal in charity. His eyes flash, molten silver in the darkness. Perhaps I'm tired of ruling alone. Perhaps I want something beautiful in my kingdom of shadows. Perhaps. He leans closer, his lips nearly brushing my ear. I want to see what happens when spring descends into darkness. I should say no. I should run back to Mother's garden and never speak of this again. But the word that leaves my lips is yes. The forest explodes into shadow. It happens so fast I don't have time to scream. The darkness rises up like a living thing, wrapping around us both, and the ground disappears beneath my feet. We're falling, no, sinking pulled down through layers of earth and stone and root. I reach for something, anything, and my fingers find the solid plane of Hades' chest. His arm bands around my waist, holding me against him as the world dissolves. I've got you, he murmurs against my hair. And despite everything, I believe him. The descent feels like drowning in silk and starlight. My stomach lurches, my ears pop, and then we land, not with a crash, but with the gentle settling of shadows returning to where they belong. Hades steadies me as my feet find solid ground, his hands firm on my waist, until I'm certain I won't collapse. Open your eyes, Persephone. I didn't realize I'd closed them. When I force them open, the breath leaves my lungs in a rush. The underworld is nothing like Mother's stories. She painted it as a place of torment and despair, all brimstone and screaming souls. But this is dark majesty incarnate. We stand in a vast cavern that stretches so high and wide, I can't see the edges. The walls are pure obsidian, polished to a mirror shine, reflecting fractured images of ourselves into infinity. Veins of silver run through the black stone like frozen lightning, pulsing with a faint, otherworldly glow. And the light gods, the light. Flames dance throughout the space, but they're not the orange gold of mortal fire. These flames burn blue, casting everything in an ethereal, haunting glow. They float without torches or candles, simply existing in the air like frozen sapphires given life. Welcome, Hades says quietly, to my home. Home. The word seems too soft for this place, yet as I look around, I realize there's a strange beauty here, a cold comfort in the darkness. The air tastes of minerals and midnight, crisp and clean, so different from the cloying sweetness above. Before I can respond, something warm trickles down my palm. I look down and see blood, my blood dripping from a gash across my hand. I must have caught it on something during our descent, though I didn't feel it at the time. The red looks shocking against my pale skin, garish in the blue light. You're hurt. Hades' voice goes sharp, and suddenly he's there, his hand capturing my wrist with surprising gentleness. His silver eyes darken as they fix on the wound, and something crosses his face that looks almost like anger. It's nothing, I start to say, but he's already guiding me forward. This way, we move through the cavern, and I realize this isn't just a cave, it's a palace, carved directly from the living stone, with soaring archways and sweeping staircases that spiral into darkness. Everything is obsidian and shadow, broken only by those ethereal blue flames that cast dancing patterns across the walls. Hades leads me into a chamber that must be his personal quarters. It's massive, dominated by a bed that looks carved from a single piece of black stone, draped in silks the color of midnight. More blue flames float near the ceiling, and I notice details I wouldn't have expected. Books stacked on dark shelves, a desk covered in papers, a window somehow, impossibly, that looks out onto a landscape of silver rivers and black mountains. He guides me to sit on the edge of the bed, then disappears through another doorway. I hear water running, and he returns moments later with a basin and cloth, along with small glass bottles that catch the blue light. "Give me your hand," he says, kneeling before me. The Lord of the Dead, the King of Shadows. Kneeling, I extend my hand, and he takes it with a reverence that makes my throat tight. His fingers are cool as they turn my palm upward, examining the cut with a healer's precision. When he dips the cloth in the water and begins cleaning the wound, his touch is impossibly gentle. "It's deeper than it looks," he murmurs, more to himself than to me. "You should have said something. I didn't want to seem weak." His eyes flick up to mine, and there's something almost like amusement there. "Persephone, you just bargained with death himself and descended into the underworld without flinching. Weak is the last word I would use to describe you." The praise does something dangerous to my insides, warming me in a way that has nothing to do with the blue flames. He works in silence, cleaning the wound with careful precision. Then he uncorks one of the small bottles, and the scent of herbs and something darker fills the air. Myrrh, maybe, and night-blooming flowers I don't recognize. "This will sting," he warns, and then applies the salve. He's right. It burns like cold fire, and I gasp, trying to pull away. His other hand catches mine, holding me steady. "I know," he says softly, his thumb stroking soothing circles on the inside of my wrist. "I know. Just breathe." I do, focusing on the rhythm of his touch rather than the burn. Slowly, the pain fades to a distant throb, and I watch as he wraps my hand in strips of dark silk. His movements practiced and sure. "You've done this before," I observe. "I've ruled a kingdom for millennia, little goddess. I've tended more wounds than you can imagine." He ties off the bandage with a neat knot, but doesn't release my hand. His fingers trace the edge of the silk, barely touching. Though I admit, I prefer it when my guests arrive uninjured. Is that what I am? A guest? His eyes meet mine, and the intensity there steals my breath. "You're whatever you want to be. Guest, prisoner, queen." The last word hangs in the air between us, heavy with implication. "I haven't agreed to be your queen," I say, but my voice sounds breathless even to my own ears. "Not yet." He rises, towering over me, and I have to tilt my head back to hold his gaze. "But you're here, aren't you? In the darkness, in my realm, and you're not afraid." "Who says I'm not afraid?" "Your pulse." His hand moves to my throat, fingers resting gently against the hammering beat there. "It's racing, yes, but not with fear, with something else entirely." He's right, damn him. The fear is there, threaded through everything, but beneath it is that same wild hunger that drove me into the forest. The craving for more freedom, more danger, more of whatever this is building between us. "You're very sure of yourself," I manage. "I've had a long time to learn to read people." His hand drops away, leaving my skin cold where he touched. "And you, Persephone, are the most fascinating thing. To walk into my kingdom in 1,000 years. Before I can respond, a sound echoes through the palace, a deep, resonant bell that seems to vibrate through the very stone. Hades' expression shifts, becoming more formal, though his eyes remain heated. That would be dinner. You must be hungry after your journey. As if on cue, my stomach growls, and his lips quirk into something that's almost a real smile. "Come," he says, offering his hand. "Let me show you what the underworld has to offer." I look at his outstretched hand, pale against the darkness, strong and steady, and think about Mother's warnings, about the danger of accepting food from the Lord of the Dead, about the bargains that bind and the prices that must be paid. Then, I place my bandaged hand in his and let him lead me deeper into the dark. Thank you for spending this time with me at Thorns and Desires. That was the end of part 1. I have to ask, do you think Persephone made the right choice by trusting Hades? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read them. Part 2 is coming very soon. Please subscribe and like this video if the story touched you. Sweet dreams. And until next time,